Welcome, everyone, to episode 78 of the Phoenix Report. I am Jack Connor, and I am here with two guys who were members of one of the most prolific bands in all of Florida. These guys have toured all across the country, and you really have a unique sound and look and stage presence. They've really carved out their own place and have been around for a very long time. And I'll definitely let them get into more of the history of it. But I've seen these guys play a bunch. I've played shows with them before, and I'm really excited, especially because I've heard their latest single. It's called Sheep. They just dropped a music video for it. It sounds great. It looks great. These guys have a really eclectic sound, like I mentioned. It's almost like metalcore meets like Faith No More meets Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like there's a lot of different sounds in between. So I'm excited to talk to these two guys, one of whom I know very well. And if you followed my career for any amount of time, you'll know one of these guys as well. But please welcome from the band Lydia Can't Breathe, singer Kyle Bolduc and guitarist Ryan Cowell.
Yo! How goes it, everybody?
Good, man. I mean, I've been wanting to get you guys on here for a while. Ryan, obviously, I've had you on before. You and I go way, way back. But Kyle, I know that Lydia Can't Breathe has been around for a long time. Originally, you guys are from Melbourne, Florida. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, we've all pretty much lived around like Melbourne, like Palm Bay, Cocoa Beach area. There's always been like different members, but I want to say I've always kind of kept all the members from around here. I've had a couple fill-in hired guns that have been from like Tennessee. Yeah, Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
And then I want to say that, yeah, everyone else has been from Florida. Yeah, for sure.
Very cool. Well, let's get into that for a while. Kyle, you started the band, correct?
Yep. I'm the only original OG. It was me and a bunch of my friends from high school, actually. So the band's, I mean, I was playing with that drummer since I was like 14.
Oh, wow.
We played till we were, I want to say Nick was in Lydia Can't Breathe for the first 2 years of it. So like every little project we did that didn't have a name or something like that, I played with Nick Mercadante, who's from Palm Bay.
Yeah, I know Nick. Really cool guy.
Yeah, pleasure of playing with him as well.
Prize for hire.
Yeah, different band.
For sure.
But yeah, we started it. We used to skip school and practice because we were like, we're never going to do anything else but play music. So I used to skip school like every day, and we would practice at Nick's house. And
wow.
We ended up picking up more friends. I had a friend that had gave guitar lessons and built guitars. So I like talked him into being our lead guitar player at first. He was just a little bit older than us, but he was like, we called him Guitar Man because he was like the only 16-year-old that could like shred. You know what I mean? Like he was already like playing with all the old dudes, and he just shredded hard. So, and then we had my friend Dan that was in the band for a long time, was one of the original members.
Yeah, Dan Wilson, right?
Yep, Dan was in there.
Funny thing about Dan Wilson, I've never actually met him, but his mom used to work at the company that I worked at when I first moved to Melbourne in 2012. His mom happened to be one of the people at the office that I worked on, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you're in a band, or you play music? Yeah, my son is in a band," and told me about Lydia Can't Breathe. That's kind of how I first found out about you guys. Weirdly enough.
Yeah, Dan was in the band for the first 2 records. Me and him did like 90% of the writing probably back then. And then Shad was in the band for the first record, but not the second one. And then he came back for the third one, and he's been in ever since pretty much.
Yeah, Shad Roundy on bass and Josh Runfeld on drums, correct?
Yeah, Josh there ever since Nick, basically. Like we had Nick for the first 2 years, and then we picked up a couple drummers for like 4 and 6 months. You know what I mean? One of them actually was a drug addict and stole a bunch of my stuff.
That sucks.
That was terrible. And then I like didn't trust anybody. After that, I was like, I don't know about these people in bands, dude. Like, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
I found Josh, and he's like the nicest dude ever, and he's actually been in the band, I want to say, ever since it was serious. It was kind of like the first string was all the high school kids.
Sure. I'm trying to do the math in my head, Kyle, because I think you and I are around the same age. So like Lydia Can't Breathe, technically, like we're going back almost 20 years now. I'm thinking.
Yeah, but we weren't Lydia Can't Breathe.
Like official, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say officially we first like formed the band and got the name, I want to say in like 2005.
Got it.
But we never like wrote a record or did anything until 2010. We just kind of like partied.
Right.
And then we were like, dude, like, I was like, yo, like, if none of you guys are going to be serious, like, I got to, like, this is what I'm trying to do with my life. So I slowly, like, as I put the gas on, you could see people be like, yo, bro, like, I can't be working this hard to play in a. Everyone, you know, kind of grew up and went their separate ways. And that's when I started hand picking people that I thought wanted to play music for a career. And that's about when 2010, you know what I mean? So that was 11 years ago. That's when the project officially started. And then we played, we did our first tour, dropped our first CD in 2010. And then we toured, you know what I mean? Just kept doing bigger tours and touring up until COVID, basically. And then we said we were going to take that year off anyway, but we were just going to write all last year. And it kind of just like COVID happened, and then we were like, okay. But we finished our last tour with A Light Divided, I want to say. Was that the last tour, right?
Yeah.
And it was a good tour. It was a successful tour. We actually made decent money. And if you've ever been on the road, you know that it's like ups and downs. At some nights you can just, your van breaks down so hard that you just lost money on the tour or something stupid. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that was grand, so no one's getting paid the rest of the time we're out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, I have a short touring experience, you know, just kind of back in 2005. So I saw a lot more of the downs than I did the ups, but maybe I wasn't on the road long enough to reap that success. Speaking of Light Divided, I know Scotty, by the way. He's he and I go way back to like 05, 06.
He's a great guitar player, and he's a great person, dude. He really is. He's a good
showman.
Dude. Yeah, he's a Dolphins fan, so you know what I mean. He's always close to my heart. You know what I mean?
Nice. Let's talk about that for a second, Kyle. When you wanted to get more serious in 2010, what was some of the changes that you felt needed to be made? Was it like more of a commitment to touring, or was there like any other planning that had to go into it that you know, maybe the other guys from high school weren't expecting, or what was that process for you?
I mean, I was kind of just like, yo, we need to go to practice as many days a week as we can, because my old guitar teacher like said that his band that actually made it and went platinum and all that, Paul Chapman, he was in the UFOs. He said that they lived together and they played.
That's right. Wow. Yeah. No, sorry to interrupt. Yeah, UFO was a major band from England and Germany through the 70s and 80s, and I heard that Paul Chapman had lived in the Brevard County area. But that's huge. I mean, you know, UFO, those guys are legends. You know, Strangers of the Night, all that.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Nah, you're great. But yeah, basically he was like, yo, man, like he was an English guy. He's like, we used to practice every day. You know what I mean? For like 8 hours, like it was a job. And then my mom told me this thing one time that always stuck with me for years. And she said, basically, whatever you do in your life, if you don't put the time in to do it, you're going to become whatever you're putting the time in to do. So like if you want to be a pro basketball player, but you spend all day, you know, delivering the mail or something like that, you're probably going to end up being a mailman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was, yo, if I don't at least put in the majority of my day into this music thing, no matter what that may be, then I'm never going to make it. You know what I mean? And that's what I would think, and I would push to go to practice like all the time. Like, you know what I mean? And everyone would kind of just be like, yo, bro, you're being crazy. Like, we're not trying to practice this much. And then after we had got the songs together, I was like, yo, like, we're going on tour. And everyone's like, well, I can't afford, you know, to go get a van or do anything. So I like figured out how to get money to get a van. So then I bought the first van, and then I was like, yo, I bought a van. We got the songs down. Like, we're going on tour. If you guys don't want to come, I'm just going to replace you. Like, you know what I mean? And I mean, everybody, you know, did a couple tours, and it was rough. Like, cause we would tour for almost nothing. to try to get the name out there. And that's like when Dan he's the one who stuck it out the longest from the old, the old crew. And then we did like one last tour we had done with Mushroomhead in like 2015, I want to say, is when Dan quit. And we had seen like a lot of what the industry is. And I think he realized that we still had a hill to climb, even though we had played festivals and done all this stuff. And he's just like, yo, bro, like, we're still struggling. Like, we're getting paid and stuff now, but he's like, we're not making enough money to where I can continue to do this. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much when we lost him. But
yeah, I mean, it is tough, especially to get off the ground like that. I guess I'm always curious, like, how did you reconcile that early on? Having a job. How were you able to like balance that from like working and paying your bills versus like going all in for this? Did you have any help with that, or I was curious?
not really. I mean, I basically own a sound company, because I've done sound for you and stuff. But
Yeah.
I rented out the equipment, and then I have a good friend of mine that lives here and a couple other dudes, and we would go on tour, and I would continue to have the gigs booked. Like, you know what I mean? So these dudes were still working for me while I was on tour. I'd be on the phone. Ryan's, I'll be on the phone all day
Yeah.
setting up different gigs. And then I got to play manager because we don't have a manager. I got to play, a tour manager and make sure, we're getting to the right place on the right time and that, we get paid at the gig. But in between all that, I would be calling back home and stuff, being like, hey, did you go to the gig? I've had to fly back home when we had 3 or 4 days off and like go run a big festival and then fly back into tour, because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have enough income to support my family back home and still go on tour. And I tell like them, I like work like 70, 80 hours a week or some craziness, and I would make a good amount of money, and I would tell them, I'd be like, dude, I made more money than you this year, and I'm just as broke as you are, you know what I mean? And I put in like double the amount of hours as everybody. And I mean, it's literally worn me thin, you know what I'm saying? I've been doing it for a long time, just like that. The area has been like that for at least like 5 to 6 years, you know what I mean? And before that, it was like, I just lived in like crappy apartments, and you know what I mean? So I didn't have, now I have a wife and 2 kids. So it's like, if I don't have some type of income coming in, it's hard for me to even be like, okay, I'm leaving for 6 months if I didn't have, the income here to do that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I want to say that knowing how to sound tech and then owning a lot of the equipment that I bought for Lydia, thinking that I was going to need it for Lydia, I had no clue that you could rent it out. You know what I mean? And then slowly started to find people that would just hire me to do sound. You know what I mean? So it's like now I'm the busiest I've ever been, besides when before COVID happened. It had become like a very lucrative job, and I had, better people working for me to where I might not have to fly home, and I'm still making, the money there, and then the money on the road pays to be on the road, and you know what I mean? It was like, and everything was kind of working, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that was smart of you to also get a job or have a skill set like being a sound engineer. It's essentially like learning a trade. You basically, have that and as a way to make money while, it's still connected to the music business. It still allows you to go and tour and do all that stuff. And running sound and doing sound engineering, that's something you'll always be able to do. So that's it's definitely a smart way to go about it. Ryan, I know you joined Lydia, I want to say, was it 2015 or 2016? How did that all come about for you?
It was 2016, I want to say.
It was a year after Dan quit, right?
Well, you guys had been out with AJ.
No, but I took Dan's spot for a while. You know what I'm saying? So we never got another guitar, because like Dan played with AJ, I'm pretty sure. Or no, AJ took Dan's spot. You're right, and then I played with AJ. He's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Kyle also plays guitar, by the way, in addition to being the singer.
I try.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I pretty much I saw Lydia Can't Breathe play for the first time up at Winfield's one night. I just happened to be up there randomly hanging out. I didn't even know a band was playing or anything. And I went over to their merch and was checking it out, and I saw this fucking Mortal Kombat T-shirt, and I was like, this is fucking awesome. And like before I even heard the band, I was just like, I'm getting this. And then all of a sudden the band comes on and they're Mortal Kombat characters and the music's going, and it was an epic show. It was definitely a nice surprise. Definitely made the night. And since then I've been really a fan and been watching the band. Kyle had actually came into Home Depot where I was working at the time, and I called him out. I was like, Lydia Can't Breathe. What's up? And he didn't even know I played guitar or anything, and it wasn't until he was running sound for our band one night.
Yeah.
At Boondocks.
Was that Boondocks?
Boondocks. I want to say it was Boondocks.
Could have been.
I ran sound for you guys at both, though.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. I mean, it was. I think it was right as we were recording the second Vertebreaker EP was when you told me that you were thinking about going on the road with those guys, and at the time we were all cool, we're not touring right now, if you can make it happen, go do it. And I remember for a while, Kyle and I used to joke around. It's like, man, I feel like we're very friendly co-parents. It's like, all right, you get custody of Ryan on the weekends, I'll get him during the week. It's,
yeah, he's so funny.
But pretty much Shad approached me originally, and it was for the side project, Prize for Hire.
That's right, yeah. Prize for Hire was something that you guys were doing. I think Shad was singing for that.
Yeah, Shad was
and
singer,
playing bass. Yeah.
And
Nick Mercadante
was the drummer. Yeah.
Right.
So kind of brought back to old school.
So there was at one point where Ryan was doing 3 bands simultaneously. It was pretty wild.
Oh, dude, yeah. And then Shad actually hurt his back bad. I think it was our first show.
Yeah, our first and only show.
Yeah, and he threw his back out, and then he couldn't even walk or do anything.
Man.
And I was just like, yo, bro, I feel like it's probably because you were, doing all the singing and playing the bass. You know what I mean? I was like, you were really, going for it all night. So I think, you know what I mean? I was like, this is a little too much for us to be doing all of the projects. Because Shad was playing in 2 other bands at the time, too. And he's like, I don't know what's wrong with my back. And I was like, yo, I'm not trying to tell you not to play, all the time. But it's probably because, you practice with a different band every single day.
Yeah.
And you have this bass on your back. So I basically told him, I was like, yo, our bass player actually had quit. And then I was like, yo, Shad, if you want back in the band, that's cool. But
so he was out of Lydia for a bit, then came back later.
Yeah, but wasn't Ryan was in it with Sean, right, for a little bit?
For one tour.
Yeah. And then we lost Sean, and then Shad came back, and we were all kind of doing both projects, and we would have Lydia practice, and then we'd have Pariahs after, and it was just kind of burning me and Ryan out.
Sure.
Nick and Shad, I think, were cool with it because Nick wasn't in another band, and Shad loved it because it was his project. You know what I'm saying? But for me and Ryan, we would show up and we would be so burnt out from everything we had to do for Lydia that we were just kind of yo, man, we can't be doing this. And then Ryan's the nicest person ever, as you know. So He never said anything. And I was just like, yo, Shad, we both quit. And Shad was just like, what? And I was like, I'm not going to practice ever again or something like that. I was like, I'm done. And I was like, and Ryan don't like it either. Or something like that. And we both quit one night. And it was just
I think it was more of a mutual agreement. Just
he knew
to
too.
Put, we got to put all of our bags in this thing that's already moving, a driving force.
Yeah.
Trying to, take a whole nother band and get it off the ground.
It's a lot. Yeah.
So much. Yeah. And Shad was at ground zero and we were at 50 or something, you know what I'm saying? And we're like, Shad, I can't go back there and play in the mud anymore. I really just don't want to, I already feel like I got so far forward. Maybe if Liddy was a gold record or, you know what I mean, something platinum albums. And I was like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? We did that. Let's spend all this time now getting this going. But I mean,
Were
Yeah.
you involved in Pariahs for Hire too, Kyle?
Yeah. I was the other guitar player.
Oh, right. Okay.
But I would do like, at first it was supposed to be like I just show up for practice, but then it started becoming like an actual, like Shad wanted to do shows and do all this stuff, and I was just like, it was too much for me because I literally am the backbone of Lydia. So it's like I do 85% of everything that's going on with Lydia. So it's like for me to give anything anywhere else, it's like hard for me to even hang out with my family because I
Right.
literally
Yeah,
just,
and early on you were doing like most of the songwriting, the business management, the whole deal.
yeah, I've been trying to hand off a little bit more stuff here and there, to what's least least needed, I guess, or where I can trust people to do stuff for us. You know what I mean? It's cool that we have a good booking agent in James. He's a good booking agent, and then we got some good people working behind us, like PR wise right now and stuff as well. And then you got Ryan and Shad who can write songs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all, you know what I mean, all very helpful. Josh does like internet stuff and little stuff here and there to take that off my plate. Like he'll fill up like websites or something if we got a bunch of shows.
Nice.
And I like all that. And we have another guy, Marlon, that does a lot of the marketing and the internet stuff. And then we have a publicist, Shauna O'Donnell. She's pretty solid. We got a radio guy, Steve Nathan, I want to say is his last name, but everybody's collectively working together, and it seems like everything's doing better. We still got a long way to go, but I feel like we do have the team, and we have the music that we just recorded. So I feel like this is like what everyone's about to see is about to be the best version of Lydia Can't Breathe. Like who knows if it's going to become a better version or what, but it's definitely going to be the best version anyone's ever seen is the stuff that's coming.
That's awesome. I mean, I've seen you guys play a bunch over the years and heard certainly the evolution of the sound. Let's talk about your sound for a little bit, though. I mean, I know it's definitely encompasses a lot of different styles, and I guess Kyle being sort of the brainchild of the band, being the guy who started it and did a lot of the songwriting. Who were some of your influences early on, and how did that kind of carry into Lydia?
I mean, like I said, I took lessons from Paul Chapman. He was like my guitar teacher since I was 13. So I had a lot of like that 80s rock and roll, 80s metal influence. I used to do a lot of cover songs like AC/DC, you know what I mean? Guns N' Roses, all that. And then I kind of like evolved into wanting to learn like more technical stuff. So I started learning like more techie, like stuff like Between the Buried and Me, or you know what I mean, like some prog metal. Trying to think of it, like Slipknot. I started listening to, and I wanted to learn like those type of fast riffs and stuff. And that's really where I felt like I thrived and I enjoyed, you know what I mean, playing those types of riffs.
Yeah.
And I also took lessons from a Berkeley professor, Michael Leisure, because I wanted to like study like reading music and doing a bunch of stuff. I wanted to basically have the ability to do whatever I wanted to on the guitar. So I felt like, in the way I learn is off of other people the best, usually one-on-one, because I got such bad ADD. So, I mean, I learned stuff off of YouTube videos and stuff too, but my two teachers probably instilled, you know what I mean, all these types of exercises. I basically like could build a chord like without a guitar, like in my, you know what I mean? I could just be like, oh, we got to do A, and then you count up, C, and then like E, like you could just count it up, and you're like, that's an A minor, stuff like that, like, because I spent so much time learning it through the book. But
all
then
the theory
Paul,
side of it, yeah.
the theory, and then Paul taught me like all the crazy licks, like the hammer-ons, the pull-offs, the sweeps, like, you know what I mean, stuff like that. So it wasn't one particular place, but I spent a lot of time.
No doubt. And I'm thinking going back to like Paul Chapman, I believe he took over for Michael Schenker in UFO. So it's like, yeah, he's a badass if he's taking over for Michael Schenker.
Yeah, big shoes to fill. Yeah. He was crazy, bro.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, it's, It's funny, like you guys have sort of the metalcore style, but also there's a lot of progressive elements in there. Your voice is very dynamic. You could, switch to clean vocals and even throw in like some hip hop type of flavor in there as well. So it's a lot of different textures to what you guys do.
Yeah, we try. I feel like we try to mix it up as much as possible, and then everyone's got like a different take. Like I feel like Ryan likes more like rock music, and he's a happier player than I am. Like I like stuff that like makes you angry when you play, I guess, you know what I mean?
No doubt, no doubt. One thing I always heard about when you guys were going on tour was that you all had gym memberships to Planet Fitness because that would be a good place to change and shower, and that way you wouldn't have to necessarily pay for a hotel room to do all that. Is there any truth to that?
That's 100% true, bro. Yeah, I'm a gym rat still, like, because I worked out so many years and I would just work out at the gym now that when we're back from tour, like, I probably progressed, like, even though it's, like, irrelevant to the music game, but I honestly progressed at the gym, like the most in the last year and a half because we've been stuck here, you know what I mean? And then even during COVID, like, I went and bought, like, a bench, and I was like working out in front of my house and stuff, like, you know what I mean, like out in the heat. And I'm just
man, you've always been in great shape. I've always been very envious of that. So that's awesome.
I'm always like getting prepared to where if I ever have to do like a stent in prison or something, you know what I mean, I'm ready.
You'll be the most popular guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, another thing I've got to bring up over the years, and certainly I know it's what Ryan noticed you guys for early on, was all the theme shows, the costumes. I always thought that was super cool and just very original, and everything from that to peanut butter jelly time, and you guys always had a unique production level of your shows. And I know you guys don't really do that much anymore, but can you go back a little bit and tell everyone like where the idea to do that came about and who brought it up, and yeah, what's the history behind that?
I mean, I want to say it's because we did some tours with Mushroomhead, and we kind of envied their production. And I was like, well, we can't just wear masks, like, you know what I mean? I was like, that's like kind of like cliche. And then I was like, well, we thought of the band names from Lydia Winona Ryder's character from Beetlejuice. So.
Oh, is that where you got the name Lydia Can't Breathe from?
Yeah.
Winona Ryder and Beetlejuice?
Yeah, Ryder from Beetlejuice, yeah.
Well, there you go.
And we were on the tour, and I was like, well, we got done with that tour. We were done with that tour, and then we were going out with OTEP, and we actually hired I don't know I guess it's a costume person or something like that. I don't know what it is, like I want to say like it's a designer or something like that, to where they like literally like design your stage clothes, and they were like, try to unify the band or something like that. And
that's cool.
We told the lady about that, and she was from Orlando.
Was she like a stylist or a tailor? Or?
Yeah, but yeah, I wish I could remember her name. She was a sweetheart of a lady. Seamstress, metal seamstress, I want to say was her name or something, but she's basically like someone who designs costumes. She had done like Britney Spears and like a bunch of big people. And my buddy up with her. She wasn't like super expensive, but not like super cheap. And she made us all like Beetlejuice themed, because she, we told her where the name came from. So she gave, I wore a suit, you know what I mean, that was like Beetlejuice themed. Yeah. And then they all wore stuff that was kind of like, themed to that. Mm-hmm. And then we got done with that tour, and I was like, well, dude, I don't want to just do this forever. Like, let's do a different movie or something like that. You know what I mean?
Like your story,
yeah, we were going back out with the Mushroomhead, I want to say, like, shortly after that, and Anchorman had just come out, and I was like, why don't we just all fucking dress up like Anchorman people or whatever?
Nice.
And we do like a funny, like an intro. So we incorporated the intro into it, just like what Ryan said when he saw Mortal Kombat. We came out and we did the Mortal Kombat, like all that.
Of course.
We always did like that because Mushroomhead taught us that you grab them quick at the beginning, and then if your music's good, they'll stay and watch the rest of the show. Yeah. So it was pivotal for us to do something to pull everybody in that initial moment. Like, you know what I mean? So we did Afternoon Delight. That was the coolest one we ever did. Like as Anchorman. It was like we came out, you know what I mean? And we like sang Afternoon Delight. You know how they do it in the
Oh,
movie?
did you guys actually sing it with the 4/4 harmonies?
But we had it on the intro. So what we did is I would come out and I'd be like, and then we'd be like, well, or, you know what I mean? And then after
Just
that,
kind of lip sing it to it.
yeah, we would all just lip sing it, you know what I mean? And then Josh would even do the thing where the cat, you know, because he was the cowboy. Yeah, he'd be like,
Champ Kind, man.
Yeah, dude, it was brilliant, and people loved that on that tour. And like I was like, yo, bro, we got to roll out with this. Now we have to, you know, keep doing it. So we did Ghostbusters, and then for the Ghostbuster tour, we had a Marshmallow Man suit made, and my friend was like 6'5", so we paid him just to come on tour with us to be Marshmallow Man, and he would come out and throw marshmallows.
Mr. Stay Puft.
Yeah, Mr. Stay Puft. He would throw marshmallows.
Kind of like Eddie to Iron Maiden.
Yeah, dude, he was. But dude, I'm telling you, like, we did a whole tour throughout the whole country. No one did anything to this kid. And then we get back home and we play a show at Boondocks, and someone starts punching him in the back of the head for throwing marshmallows at him.
What?
Yeah, no joke, dude.
Funny.
It's so crazy.
I know you guys did Star Wars one year. You did Batman.
Batman, yeah, those were both good too.
I did see you guys play dodgeball one time.
Dodgeball was lit, and I had the big fake penis thing or whatever it was.
Right, like White Goodman.
Yeah, it was so good.
I mean, you're already jacked and in shape, so it worked out, man.
It worked out for sure.
You've been going to Globo Gym. I've seen you.
I went and worked out in that thing one day and did squats, and we got it on video.
Yeah.
It was so funny because everybody at the
I remember
gym,
that.
yeah, they were just kind of looking at me, and they were just like, what's this guy doing? I had the Fu Manchu
Yeah.
shaved, you know what I mean, to where it was just the
You were
side.
committed to it, man. I love it. Yeah, that's good. And where did the whole peanut butter jelly time thing come from?
Oh my God, that's Mushroom Head too. It was we were on tour with Mushroom Head, and I was already on the thing. I was like, yo, I'm trying to think of something to compete with these guys. They're throwing water on people every night and stuff. And I was like, dude, I'm gonna go up tonight, and when we play Peanut Butter and Jelly Sandwich, like we have a song, Peanut Butter Jelly Time. I was like, when we play the song, I'm just going to sit there like a weirdo at the table, and I'm going to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
And yeah, that's what you guys would do. You would throw them out to the crowd.
Yeah, and the guy from Mushroom Head was like, yo, like, don't just make them, bro. He was like, throw them to the crowd. You know what I'm saying? And then I was like, all right, whatever. I'll get someone to help me then. You know what I'm saying? So then I got this girl, November. I don't know if you ever met November. Yeah. She was the original peanut butter jelly girl. And, dude, she's like a mom, I guess. She's like, yo, I could really do this good. So she made the whole entire loaf of bread. I'm not even joking, by herself. I don't think I've only seen many people do it. And I've had hundreds of people make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We've gotten kicked out of venues and everything for it. It's so crazy.
That's funny.
But, yeah, we threw them out that night, and it was at the Al Rosa in Ohio. And then we just did it the rest of the tour, and we've never stopped doing that, no matter. We stopped doing the costumes, and now we just kind of do like a black light type, really intense light show. Mm-hmm. And we just kind of get like, we wear like stage clothes, you know what I mean? But we don't really dress up as the characters anymore. Right. And we try to have like unique intros with like good songs. Sometimes, you know, do them ourselves. I think we did Top Gun, to where we just played the Top Gun song as the intro, you know what I mean, stuff like that. But yeah, we've always thrown the sandwiches. I sometimes I'm like, we get peanut butter. I have peanut butter like all over microphones.
Oh God! Yeah.
Josh had it all over his cymbals. We've picked up many bands we've been on tour with. Like, it's all fun and games until their shit gets peanut butter and jelly all over it.
We've kind of had to tone it down and like designate somebody to do it, because before we just like let any like drunk person come up there and then get out of hand real quick.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and I used to like picking that dude because he was the most ridiculous person in the room. But then we had like one guy that took like the whole jar of peanut butter and he like rubbed it in AJ's hair. And like AJ has the longest hair ever, and he just wanted to fight the guy.
Yeah.
And I AJ, and he's like, "This is stupid. I don't even know why we do this." And then I was like, "All right." And he's like, "You need to pick more sober people to do this shit." You know, we got kicked out of a couple venues because of it too. They were pretty pissed, and I was just like, "I guess I understand." You know what I mean?
It's unique though. It's original. I will say that. When you say it, you mean like the actual peanut butter jelly time. That song. You guys cover that, or is there another song?
It's not even about that. It's about eating peanut butter every day because your life is boring and you're gonna die. That's what it's about. There's like, wow. And I did peanut butter jelly time in it one time, so that's how it got the name.
Nice.
Yeah.
The darker side of peanut butter and jelly.
The darker side of it's the rotten peanut butter and jelly.
Ah, that's not the kind you want.
I always thought like the meaning behind it was like you guys just being on the road and you had to like survive off of peanut butter and jelly.
No,
that's what I always thought.
It's like what's the budget this week? Can we? How many loaves of bread and jars of peanut butter and jelly can we find?
It's kind of like that's some of the aspect, but it's more or less about like. You're living the same day over and over again. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just eating peanut butter and jelly just to stay alive. Kind of what you're saying, but it wasn't about, like, being on the road.
Okay.
It's about just being like, oh, yeah, I just eat because it keeps me alive, but this doesn't even matter. It's just because this tangibly creates energy. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, so that's kind of what the song was about. It was about dying, too. Yeah.
Of course. Of course. Let's talk about your new single for a second, Sheep. I love the video, love the song, especially that chorus. It's just such a great hook to it. Talk about what were you guys trying to say with that one? I know a lot of people can interpret that a lot of different ways. Is there anything you want to comment, as far as what you meant by it?
It's basically like how everybody's being controlled through social media, and like the computers and like general media, TV. And they're sending out messages, some of them subliminal, some of them direct, but it's just creating a bunch of people that are falling in line, I feel like, just because they're not smart enough or they're too scared to go against the grain. And I feel like that's a big problem in our world today. That's half the reason a lot of stuff is going down the way it is, you know what I mean? And it's supposed to be like stand up for what you believe in no matter how hard the fight is. You know what I mean? And then if you can't change yourself, that you can't make a difference on the world. Like Ryan can't be out there like preaching and doing all this stuff and then going and stealing and, you know what I mean? He can't be the vegan he is and then getting home and like killing a cat and eating it. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's not right. You know what I'm saying?
No.
If you're going to kill cats and eat them, you need to say that you're killing cats and eating them.
Well, you can't be a vegan at that point.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, in all seriousness, like I like the way you guys phrase that, because I think no matter what you believe or what side of the fence you fall on, I think a lot of people can identify with that in terms of just practicing what you preach and standing up for what you believe in, and also just being true to yourself. I think that's something I feel like that's a universal thing that people can identify with, or at least aspire to.
Yeah, 100 for sure. I mean, I feel like it's hard for people to be noble. You know what I mean? I break my back every day to keep my word. You know what I mean? I might not be the nicest guy ever, but I never lie and I never cheat. You know what I'm saying? I do what I say I'm going to do when I say I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? And I expect other people around me to be like that. And for certain people, it's hard for them to do that, or they didn't have good parenting, or they didn't have good, social skills to where they think it's cool to, half-ass it or, not be true. And I feel like one of the only things we have in this world is like our word and our reputation of who we are. You know what I mean? Because no matter what money or whatever you got, if you're a piece of shit, you're still just a piece of shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I mean that doesn't matter how much you have or don't have. It's how you treat other people, how you conduct yourself. Those things matter absolutely across the board. So you guys have some singles coming out. I know things are starting to open up. I know you guys have played a few shows over the last couple months. I guess what's on the horizon for Lydia Can't Breathe? Are you guys looking to tour as soon as possible? Or do you have some more new singles coming out? Like I know you guys, for example, you guys have a relationship with Brendan Paredes at Studio 101. Great producer, great engineer. So he's sort of another unofficial member of the team, if I had to guess. But yeah, what is next for Lydia Can't Breathe? What have you guys have coming down the pike?
We do have another 13 songs we have recorded already, but we're not sure what we're dropping next, but we will be dropping another single in 8 weeks, and then we're going to be dropping singles every 8 to 16 weeks, basically, until we get a collective amount of them, and we might put them on a disc, but we're just going to keep dropping music every 8 to 16 weeks, because we want to keep like everybody in tune, you know what I mean, have something come. But we also we have another song that we did with Brandon that we're working on right now. That's a cover. And then we also have the 13 songs that are done, but we did those actually with Andy Karpovic.
That's right.
Andrew Wade up at the audio compound in Orlando to get kind of like a different feel.
That's right. Yeah. Ryan, I remember you telling me about that when you guys were going into the studio, and I think I was kind of busy at the time. I think I had almost came and met you guys and hung out while you guys were doing that for a second, but for whatever reason it didn't happen. But yeah, I'd heard that you guys were up in my area doing some stuff, and that's cool. What was it like to work with Andy?
It was a different experience. It definitely was good. I feel like he kicked our ass a little bit. And made us realize some of the mistakes we were making and helped us, bring our music to a different level. I'm excited to get it all out. I feel like we had gotten better, though, as writers and producers ourselves as well.
The process.
For us going through it and understanding how they do it, and they got gold records and platinum records up there. So I was like, okay. And I just, kind of sit back and try to analyze everything as much as possible. And I feel like we definitely learned some trade secrets from them. But going in there, I feel like even the material we gave them is the best material that we've ever had. So, I mean, that set us up for success. And then them just, taking it to a different level and kind of doing a different approach on the whole process than what we usually do with Brandon. It was definitely a learning experience and good to get like outside of our box, because we've basically done the first 3 records with Brandon. So we were just like, okay, we're going to go try something new, and we'll still record with Brandon too. Obviously, we're already recording with him again, but wanted to see the take of it. And Andrew, like I said, Andrew Wade's done like A Day to Remember and some other big projects, to where I was just hoping he could, up the ante, you know what I mean? And I feel like they did. And now we can take what we've learned from there and bring it back to Brandon's or wherever we are recording. You know what I mean? It could just help bring us up. You know what I mean? That's how I feel anyway.
Absolutely. How would you say that the band's music has evolved over the years?
I went from complete like gutter underground like grindcore type music to progressive, and now it's like, I want to say that it's more like hard rock metal with like almost like a pop structure, you know what I mean? Started like the new song, like we have the chorus in it. Like if you heard an old song from Lydia Can't Breathe, we never played a chorus more than one time. And it was like, okay, we're just gonna play a 9-minute song with 14 different riffs in it that are as hard to play as possible, and you're going to scream as mean as possible the whole time, Kyle. That was like our get, you know what I mean?
Nice. Yeah, I mean, that the chorus on Sheep is like really, really catchy. It's a strong hook, so it sticks in your ear. So it's definitely a good sign as far as where you want to take your sound. I think I really like it a lot. Being a singer myself, I can always appreciate stuff like that when I hear a good catchy chorus and stuff like that. That's what I've always personally gravitated towards. Being a singer yourself, have you ever like taken any lessons over the years, or had any particular vocal influences, Kyle?
Yeah, David O'Donnell, he lived around here. He actually was an opera teacher. I took opera lessons for like 2 or 3 years.
Oh, wow.
A couple opera songs and stuff like that. He taught me how to speak Italian. I don't even do it. Like Caro mi ben or whatever. You Caro mi ben or some shit. I can't remember. But he taught me that, and then he taught me like a bunch of breathing exercises. And that was because I was just a screamer. And I was like, everyone was like, yo, you got to sing. Like, we need you to sing every once in a while. And I was like, I don't fucking know how to sing. Like, you know what I mean? So I went and took lessons from that guy. My mom and my sister are actually really good singers, which is funny because I always was like, just wanted to play guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Never really sang. And then I scream at practice one time when we were kids. I was like playing guitar and I screamed and everyone was like, yo, like you're the singer. Like that was serious. Like, and I was like, for real? I was just joking. Like, you know what I mean? And then from that day forth, it was like, because I could scream for an hour straight, I was the singer. Like, you know what I mean? And then I wanted more out of it than just doing pig squeals and low gutter growls and all that. I don't even do a lot of that anymore because it just tears your voice. Yeah. So I stick to a lot more, like 3 or 4 screams and then try to sing and rap the rest of, the song. And try to like write more lyrics than just writing about like doing drugs and stuff. I think that's all I used to write about. You know what I mean? So.
Well, it's cool, man. Like I said, I love the new single. I love the direction you guys are going in, and you guys are one of the hardest working bands I know. It's especially tough now because obviously it's like, okay, first they took away the record business. Now like touring is on hold for a bit, so it's tougher than ever to really keep it together, and especially in today's world. But I'm glad you guys are sticking with it. I'm glad you guys are, keeping it going. And there's not much more to say than that. I'm really excited to see what the future brings for your band because you guys are some of the hardest working cats I know. So
much appreciated, Jack, for sure.
Sure. Now, obviously, I've known Ryan for a long time. He started my band with me, so it's So like I know how hardworking and how talented he is. So you guys are in good hands with this guy on guitar.
I like
it. There's room for improvement, though.
Yeah. Hey, who can't say that? Like there's always room for improvement for everybody. So
probably suck if you think you're the greatest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, you guys are definitely in a good spot. So where can people find Lydia Can't Breathe and your audio company online? What was the name of your audio company as well, like when you run sound?
Audio, BIFYM Audio.
BIFYM Audio, yeah.
Yeah, you just type that in, basically, it's biffamaudio.com, or you can go to Facebook or Instagram and find Biffam. I think there's a Twitter too, but I hardly check it, so don't go there. And then for Lydia Can't Breathe, obviously, it's just www.lydiacan'tbreathe.com, and then you can go to any social, and we check them all the time. So it's like Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You know what I mean? We even got what is the new one? TikTok. But yeah, I hardly do the TikTok yet. I'm trying to tickety talk, but I don't know what's up with that.
I was gonna ask, like, you guys have a TikTok? Like, what usually goes onto that?
I have my kid with like fire eyes, like running around the house, like listening to like 187 Stupid, I think. And then I have like Andy. I fart in one of the TikToks, and you can just hear like it's just like a slow drutted fart, but it doesn't even like a fart. It's more of just like a, you know what I mean? Like you hear like a little pound, and then Andy's like, "What was that?" And I'm just like, "I farted" or something like that. I forget what it is, but it's pretty funny. But
that sounds about right for TikTok. Let's be honest.
That's it. Yeah.
That's the only thing is like attention.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But hey, you do whatever you can to get get attention from folks. But I don't think you guys will need to fart in in microphones because you guys have actually good music. So I think you'll be all right. But yeah, stay tuned for definitely keep an eye out on what Lydia Can't Breathe is doing in the future. They've got some singles coming out, and yeah, man, thank you guys for being on the show.
Yeah,
thanks for having us.
Thanks, man. Yeah, appreciate.
Thanks once again to my buddies Kyle and Ryan from Lydia Can't Breathe. LydiaCan'tBreathe.com is the website. Make sure you go check out all their stuff. They've got a lot of good stuff coming. And here's something I haven't talked about in a while. We actually have an upcoming event. My band, Vertebreaker, will be playing for the first time since before COVID started. We will be having a show Saturday, July 10th at 7 p.m. at Orlando Brewing, 1301 Atlanta Avenue in Orlando. And we will be playing there with our good friends Auditory Armory and Vapid, as well as Califactor. I've had Steve Atchison from Califactor on my show before, a couple episodes back. Well, Califactor is finally playing their first show ever, and it's going to be with us at Orlando Brewing, Saturday, July 10th, 2021, and I'm really excited. It's going to be an outdoor venue, so it'll be, if you have any cause for concern about COVID, by that time in July, it probably won't be too bad. But even if you do still are worried about that, it'll be outdoors. There'll be food trucks, plenty of space. Everything should be safe and should be fine. I hope to see you guys there. OrlandoBrewing.com is the website for the venue if you want to get more information about what they have there. Pretty wide drink selection, obviously. It is a brewery. So, and I'm sure they'll have, food trucks and other stuff as well. And it is free admission. There's no cover charge. So yeah, please, if you're in the area, please stop by. It'll be worth your while. I guarantee it. And that is it for this episode of the Phoenix Report. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at JackXConnor. Like me on Facebook at facebook.com/JackConnorMusic. Feel free to check out my band, Vertebreaker, at facebook.com/VertebreakerBand. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, make sure you email me at jackconnorpodcast@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment or tweet me at, with the hashtag Phoenix Report. If you're listening to this on YouTube or iTunes or however you're listening to this, make sure you subscribe. Leave a good rating, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, go back and listen to all the other episodes. I have an early episode that I did with Ryan back when he was in my band from a bunch of years ago. You can go back and listen to that if you want. But either way, thank you guys for subscribing and tuning in. This has been the Phoenix Report. I'm Jack Connor. Rock on.